Hey everyone, Mr. E here. I am going to be going over a very oft requested topic today. I think a lot of new players are coming to the game, so they are wanting to know about all the differences in my game versus their game, and those are from mods. So before we even get started, if you are playing on Xbox, you will not have access to mods. So this is unfortunately not the video for you. But if you are playing on Game Pass or Steam Edition on the PC, you can use mods. So we're going to go over how to install the mods today, and I will show you my list of mods and give my recommendation for a nice tight core of mods that will really improve your gameplay and your gameplay experience. So first, let us hop in and we'll turn our music a little bit so we're not overpowering our voice. Let's open up our Darktide folder. You will need this open for a little bit later. So what we'll do is we'll right click on the game in the Steam, or you can navigate to where the file is on your drive, wherever it's saved, as far as what Game Pass does if you're using Game Pass. So this is it right here. This is going to look a little bit different than yours because my mods are already installed. It will be missing some of these folders. Don't worry about that right now. The second thing you'll need to do is you'll need to go to this website right here, nexusmods.com. The way I usually navigate to this is I Google search for Nexus Mods Darktide. And I click on this one right here. Okay, so here we are. What you'll want to do is you'll scroll down and search for popular all time. And here are all the mods. We're going to scroll through these later, but the first two mods here are the ones you absolutely need because it won't work without it. The first one you need to download and install is Darktide Mod Loader. So we're going to click on this, and right up here at the top right corner is a button that says Manual. Click on that. Then you will need to log in if you are not already logged into Nexus Mods. It's free. I'm certain they're selling my information to the CIA or something, but whatever. You can get a download on this mod. So you click slow download and it'll download it right here. You'll then click open file and you'll fucking open Warframe builds because you missed the click because you were mouthing off too much. There we go. So we'll open the file. Here it is. So here's the file. And what you might be tempted to do is to just go ahead and drag this puppy on in. But the problem is this is still a zip file. You can see it right over here. This is highly compressed. So if we drag it in, it won't open properly. What you'll need to do is click extract all, and then just go ahead and extract it to somewhere like your desktop. And now we have an extracted file. So you can drag this in here. And if you open this README, it's going to give you the information that I'm going to give you in the rest of this video. So you could just stop listening to me now and just go do that if you really want to, if you're a reading focused person, but I'm going to take you step by step to the rest. So hang in there with me. So we will now just highlight all these and drag them over to our main directory for Warhammer 40k Darktide. And you will say yes to replacing all of them. And then once we're here, once we've got that done, we can go ahead and close this window we were just on and open up the mods folder. Now, when you open your mods folder, you are going to have exactly one thing in here. I'm pretty certain it's just base. Don't worry. These are all the mods that I have installed. I'm going to be giving a quick review of each of them afterwards and then giving you my essentials. But the second mod we need to install is not in here yet. So we'll go back, and then we need to download Darktide Mod Framework. This follows the exact same procedure as before. Manual download, get the zip file, and then unzip it, put it somewhere temporarily, and then you'll drag it in here. And all it is this little folder, DMF, and there you go. So now you are set up to add mods to this folder, and that's where we're at. Okay, so now we pick our mods. Let me go ahead and give you a rundown of my mods now, so you can know what you might want. Another really great way of figuring out what you might want is search for popular all time. Generally, people have pretty good taste in what affects the game in a positive way. Oh, excuse me. So things like scoreboard, numeric UI, true level, animation events, all these are really important just to make the game work better. But I'll tell you what I've got because that's a question I get often asked. So I have AFK. AFK makes it so that you don't get logged out of the game when you AFK in the Morningstar for longer than 5 minutes. You can change that time. It's nice. Animation Events is a mod that makes some other mods work. It's a prerequisite. And don't worry about too many prerequisites. The only two prerequisites that apply to most of these mods, or all these mods, are Darktide Mod Framework and Darktide Mod Loader, which you already have. And if it is another mod that requires a prerequisite, then when you go to download it, let me see if I can find I'm certain there's one that I'm not seeing, but when you go to install it or download it, it'll say, hey, do you have these mods? And it'll direct you to that page to get those mods as well. So it is pretty foolproof in that regard. Okay, back to it. Base is just the base. It'll already be in here for you. Better Milk makes it so that you can see what Milk's quests are without actually going to Milk and whether or not you've completed them. Buy until rating is obsolete. Chat block makes it so that when you press escape, because you're tabbed out doing something else, your character will hold their block up, and this prevents you from getting owned by one random straggling enemy who finds you, hiding in a corner. Creature Spawner. This is amazing for those of us who love to playtest our builds, because you can go into the simulacrum and you can spawn any number of any enemy in the game, and you can make them either attack you or not. You can lower your own health state. There's lots of different things you can do with Creature Spawner in order to test out your builds. Dark Cache improves loading times. Decode Helper. This puts a highlight on the next little symbol that's going to be highlighted in the hacking minigame. Some people think it's cheap. I think it just kind of makes the minigame a little bit different because, you can now see when there's going to be 3 in a line and when you have to click really, really fast rather than just guessing every time. I don't really care too much for the hacking minigame, so I'm okay if I invalidate it a little bit. Disable Screen Effects is a great mod, especially if you're playing a class like Psyker, where there's just a lot of screen noise going on, especially when you're at high peril, and it makes it hard to see past all that nonsense, to actually see what is going on, and you might get hit by enemies. You can neuter any of that stuff. You can make it quiet, you can make it a different color. This also applies to ally effects. You can turn your allies flame grenades for zealots blue or some other color so that they don't confuse you versus the enemy effects. So a lot of variety here. For the Emperor adds a speech wheel that has a lot of different options on it. If you're a player who is a mute player and you just don't communicate via voice in game, I think this is a must-have because it communicates things like yes, no, follow me, go, let's go here, like that sort of stuff on the same emote wheel as before. I'm surprised it's not a default in the game. Guarantee weapon swap is a thing. It's a slight optimization. I was having a problem where I would be swinging a weapon and I needed to pull out my range weapon and fire a revolver shot really quickly, but the game would say, oh, you're swinging your melee weapon. Even though you press Q to swap weapons, you want to keep swinging your melee weapon, right? And I don't. So this automatically makes it so that when you press Q and weapon swap, that takes the top priority. You will always get a weapon swap. This is a bug that existed in the game for a while. I'm not certain if it's still in the game, but this fixes it, and I'm just going to keep it. Health bars. This is a controversial one. This adds health bars to any enemy in the game that you want to add them to. You can even add them to all of the little trash, even though your entire screen would be filled with nonsense. I have them on elites, specials, and bosses, just because I think it makes it easier to figure out what you're doing in the game. A lot of times the hordes that you're fighting can devolve into a big mushy brown gray green mess, especially if you're not visually acute, which is a category that I fall into. And I also I'm a high information player. I understand some people think this is cheating because it allows me to oh, that guy's on one shot, I'm gonna go in there and get him, but I just don't care. I think it's more fun to play with the health bars than it is not. Bosses have health bars, so why shouldn't mini bosses, like crushers, have their own health bars, in my estimation. Hub hotkey menus. This is the how I navigate around the Morningstar without actually going to all these places. I can just open the menu for the simulacrum. I can open the menu for the mission board by pressing M. I don't have to walk around the hub to get to places. Very nice feature. Inspect from social is how I stalk people that have been in my games and I steal their builds. You can just go to recent players and then right-click their name and click inspect, and you can see what they currently have as their build if they're still online. So it's a really great one, especially if you're trying to grab some new builds. Kill feed improvements. This condenses the kill feed, so instead of having a string of E killed Mauler, E killed Mauler, E killed Mauler, E killed Mauler, it'll say E killed Mauler times 4, and that condenses it so that you can get other useful information, like the fact that another ally killed a dog, rather than the whole thing being washed out whenever someone goes absolutely Rambo and kills a whole pack of shotgunners. My favorites is no longer useful because now you can set favorites on weapons in game with the new update. No skull is an interesting tweak that I forgot was even in the game for normal players, but when you highlight an enemy, your target, your tag skill, it puts this little skull icon over them, which I think looks cool. However, that skull icon scales really poorly at a distance, so when you're far away from an enemy, that skull can block a lot of like their hitbox as well as what's behind them, and I was sharpshooting with the revolver and I was noticing it was obscuring where their head actually was, so I got no skull, and it takes that little skull away. They are still highlighted with the normal aura that they are, though. Numeric UI is a great one. This is going to make all of the bars for your allies, instead of having like just, oh, they're at like 60-ish% health, you will now know exactly what the number for their health is and the number for their ammo and all that stuff. So you can tell what curios people are running based on their health levels and toughness levels, which is really, really important, I think. This is a scoreboard plugin. We'll talk about scoreboard now since this is a plugin for it. Scoreboard gives you a scoreboard at the end of the game. Shocking. I think this is easily one of my favorites because this is how you figure out if your build is doing good or if you're playing well. You will have no other way of knowing whether or not you took very little damage unless you were somehow counting. This is going to tell you all the information you need to know. This is what I show at the end of all of my videos. That allows you to say, oh wow, that build must be pretty good. He did a lot of damage. He took very little damage. He helped his allies. He killed this many elites, yada yada. And there's a bunch of plugins that are available in the Nexus Mods portal here that you can add to the scoreboard so you can have different stats that it tracks, even down to silly things like how many barrels you blew up. Show crit chance is another one that a lot of players have asked for. It has adds a counter to the center of the screen or wherever you want to put it that keeps a running real-time tally on what your crit chance is currently. This is a lot more useful on some builds than others, but I always have it on just because it's nice to know, what are my odds in getting a crit if I make this attack right now rather than waiting an extra second or two to get my buffs up. Smaller talent tree is mainly used for people who want to take pictures of their talent tree and share them, or content creators who want to have their whole talent tree on one screen rather than having to scroll through this long thing. It makes it a little bit harder to click on the nodes because they do overlap a little bit, but it's useful for conveying information without having to scroll. Talent refund below basically makes it easier to click around and undo parts of the talent tree or redo parts of the talent tree without unallocating every single point in order. True level is how you can see that a person has 800 levels in this veteran. I personally have 450-ish levels on my zealot. This is, I think, a really good one. It allows you to know like when someone has a lot of expertise with a certain class. It is based on what character they're playing. It is not their overall account level. So they might have another character who has 10,000 levels and you wouldn't know it. They're on their level 5 zealot or whatever. But yeah, this is a great way. I use this one in combination with inspect from social in order to figure out who the experienced players are in my lobbies and stalk them and then steal their builds and put them on YouTube. UI extension is really good. This allows you to modulate every element of your UI. You can move the health bars for your allies around. You can put your ammo count in the center of the screen. There's a ton of stuff you can do with this mod. It is a little more complicated than some of the other ones, but if you are like a MMO player and you're used to customizing your UI and putting it in places where it's more visible, I think this one will be right up your alley. Volley fire timer is for executioner's stance, the veteran ability where you kill enemies who are highlighted and it continues the chain. It just keeps an on-screen timer of how long you have until that ability runs out and how much time you have left before you can refresh again. And then when you're done and you run out of targets to shoot, it'll actually tell you how many refreshes you got and how long you were in ultimate. So that's pretty cool. Weapon customization is another one that a lot of people are looking for. This is the thing that allows me to have weapons on my back. It allows me to put red dot sights and flashlights on my weapons. It allows me to make my weapons look like I have the premium skins without actually buying the premium skins. Easily one of the best mods in the game. And then finally, Who Are You? This is a mod that shows the actual Steam profile or Xbox username of the person next to their character name. Because the problem is that people have these character names and they are anonymous past that. This will tell you who they are. And so a lot of times, especially if you're like a content creator like me, you'll see a person and then they'll have a like an Xbox username that has a slur in it, and so you'll know immediately that you need to block that person and get the fuck out of there. That's mainly my main use for it, is being like, okay, so this person is like kind of a shithead. I should probably just go ahead and block them and move on. Anyway, y'all, that is everything as far as my mods. My recommendation, if you want a nice tight core set, I would install weapon customization. I would install UI extension. I would install the scoreboard. I would install numeric UI and kill feed improvements. And I think that's about it for like absolutely. These are going to make the in-game experience like that much better. You're going to have more information. Oh, and health bars. But health bars is sort of a take it or leave it thing. It does slightly alter the gameplay because you will know enemies' health now, which some people think is a little more cheating, but I'll leave that up to you. All right, y'all. So that is the mods that I recommend. We are not quite done yet. We have 2 more steps to go before we can launch the game. The last one, or the second to last one here, is the mod load order. You will have to open this text file, which will already be in this file. And then you will type in, and spelling does count, so make sure that these are literally exactly what it says, better milk, better milk. You will type in the mods that you want to load. If there is ever a mod that's throwing errors, you don't have to uninstall it and remove the folder. All you have to do is remove it from this list and save this text file. So anytime I have a mod that's throwing me some errors, I'll just take it out of here. Like for instance, I'm pretty certain that I don't need my favorites anymore. I could remove that. Let me see if there's anything else that I don't need. Oh, buy until rating. I'm not using that anymore, so I'll delete it and I'll save. So now buy until rating won't load, and that's all fine because that is an obsoleted mod. I don't have to actually remove it from this list. All right, so we're almost done. Just one more step. We're gonna go back to the main Darktide thing, and we're gonna double click on toggle Darktide mods. Now mine says Darktide is already patched. Would you like to remove the patch? I'm gonna say no, but yours is going to say Darktide is now patched to load mods, and you can close the window out. So now you will be able to go back to your Darktide, wherever it is, and you'll hit play. I'm sure you probably got that part figured out, huh? And then after a little bit here, you'll hit play again. It'll load on up. And you'll get some errors if you're anything like me and you haven't updated your mods in a while. Just waiting patiently. And then we'll just load on in. And you can see that I have numeric UI is throwing an error there. It's probably because I haven't updated it, so I'm going to look at that after this, putting a new version of it into the folder there. It's as simple as overwriting it. I don't have to change anything else. All right, and then you'll just press escape, and you'll have a new thing here called mod options, and that will have the list of every mod that you have installed and their various settings. And there's a lot of settings to go through here. I don't think I have enough time the rest of my life to go through all of them. Hopefully you can figure it out from this point, especially if you start with like a smaller core set of mods and expand over time as you find more and more stuff that interests you. Anyway, y'all, I think that is just about it. Oh, one more final warning. If the game is ever updated, including small updates like this, where there was just this hotfix that was like 1 megabyte, every time this happens, you will have to go back into your local folder. So you'll right-click, manage, browse local files, and you'll have to re-click this toggle Darktide mods to toggle them back on. It hasn't broken your mods, it's just toggled them off so that you're launching in like safe mode basically. And that is all you have to watch out for. That happens every time there's an update, and that is a #1 problem that a lot of people have. They think all their mods got broken. Okay, y'all. That is everything. I hope this really covers it. I think mods are a huge improvement over the typical gameplay experience, and if you can get them, it really isn't that hard. It'll take you maybe 20 minutes, and it will reward you many times that in terms of enjoyment. If you enjoyed this video, if this was helpful to you, I really appreciate a like and a subscribe, a comment saying how awesome I am, and I will see you all next time. Mystery out. Bye.